Catholic Relief Services testifies to the Senate today about the life-saving and life-altering work of feeding the world's poor. But they say millions of taxpayer dollars are being wasted because of an arcane law. Capitol Hill correspondent Jason Calvi tells us about the Food for Peace program. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Lauren. Fighting famine is happening right now in places like Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and Yemen. For more than 60 years, the U.S. government's Food for Peace program has been trying to help. But senators and experts say American law is getting in the way.
Catholic Relief Services partners with the U.S. government program, Food for Peace.
We have a responsibility as Catholics and Americans to help the poor, hungry, and vulnerable around the world.
The program sends American beans, grains, and other food to people around the world. But in testimony to the Senate, CRS Vice President Bill O'Keefe says they're forced to waste money on expensive shipping. In 3 years, about $23 million more.
Congress had these ridiculous requirements in place, and that people are starving because of these ridiculous requirements.
A law dating to 1954 requires 50% of government cargo to be shipped on special, privately owned American ships. Cornell professor Christopher Barrett says that puts lives at stake.
Saving lives in disasters is actually relatively cheap. The $300 to $400 million wasted on these various restrictions effectively costs us something like 40,000 children's lives every year.
If the law changes, advocates say more of the money will go to people like these. Earlier this year, the Trump administration proposed scrapping the program. But Congress kept Food for Peace alive. O'Keefe says the money is not a handout, but a hand up.
If we're able to help farmers, particularly young people, to have a source of income and to grow food for their families and to do so in a sustainable way, then they're more likely to stay where they are.
CRS, Catholic Relief Services, currently works with $340 million from the federal government's Food for Peace program. That's both for emergencies and longer-term projects. Lauren?
Jason, are lawmakers open to changing this law to make these food shipments cheaper?
The senators who spoke at the hearing today seemed hungry for change and the increased competition. One expert today said 60% of the Food for Peace food is all funneled through just 4 privately owned ships.
Capitol Hill correspondent Jason Calvi, thank you.